Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel and the 3 Substack newsletters, Knowing Whispers, Messages from the Universe, Trump in America, and Deep Truth, Beyond Logic and Imagination. Today my video is entitled Delusion, Desperation, and Dread in America. And what I'm going to be doing here today is showing you astrologically really the reflection in the horoscope of the United States of America about how a great many Americans feel now, and most likely will be feeling more this way as we move into the Trump presidency, if in fact it does come to pass. There is still a amount of questioning as to whether or not it's actually going to be pulled off due to a number of things that have been speculated. But the reality of things as they look right now, it looks like it is going to happen, and that is of major concern to a lot of Americans. So I'm hoping to share with you the astrology of what we can expect, but also to talk to you heart to heart about how to deal with these feelings. Because ever since the election, you know, it's kind of like the hammer hit the gamble. It's been very difficult to be able to connect consciously with guidance and also higher self energies. I found that to be very much the case. And it's still kind of dogging, you know, me. And of course, many of you are aware of the fact that my younger brother had passed away on the 15th of November. So there was some of that personal, you know, energy too to be dealt with. But I'm more concerned from the standpoint of my viewers on trying to help you to understand how to deal with this type of thing. And because of the nature of possibly different viewpoints about this, it can be difficult. You know, when I'm talking about karma, if this is something that you have been taught against or something that you're not aware of, it can be very difficult to swallow some of the realities that karma can indicate. But for me to ignore that would be essentially not being true to myself, or also not being true to my audience. So let's take a look here at this chart. This is a chart of the United States of America. It is basically for today, December the 3rd, 2024. And I want to take you down here to the bottom of the chart. Now, you have to keep in mind that this chart of the United States is not absolute. It is the accepted chart based upon years of study, observation, and work by astrologers. They feel, okay, that it is relatively close. The reporting back in the day, so to speak, in the 1700s, was that the voting for this was done probably late in the day on July the 4th, 1776, somewhere around dinner time or earlier than that. So the exact position down here of Neptune and Saturn are still in the 3rd house. Okay, they're going to be moving into the 4th house, and this will happen sometime in, I think, May of 2025. And it is important that you understand okay, the effect of this happening. It's also possible that it already has, if the timing that we're using here, which is 5:10 p.m., is not absolutely accurate, but the overall feeling is this is probably pretty close. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for you? Well, it really kind of reflects what it is you're feeling. That heavy, depressed feeling, that borderline hopelessness, that inability to wrap your brain around what has happened and how could people vote for Donald Trump. You see this down here in the placement of Saturn and also in the placement of Neptune in the third house of communications. Okay, the house of our day-to-day thinking type, situation. Saturn, of course, represents obstacles, trials, tribulation, frustration. Okay, this is essentially the energy. It can also bring in a positive aspect to it, which would be creating form, creating a situation of things being logically organized and stuff of that matter. But it hasn't really manifested in that respect. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of the energy of Saturn in some cases, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto being more of the dark side of those planetary energies, okay, to bring about what we see has happened. And of course, you're all aware of the fact of the people that Trump has decided to put into his cabinet. And you can't help but get the feeling like that he's determined, determined to bring down the United States of America by putting in people that are absolutely unqualified for the jobs that he's appointing them to. And of course, this creates a situation of, him essentially being able to rule over them and rule over us at the same time. Okay? Because they're unlikely to go against his wishes. Now, throw into this Neptune. All right? Neptune, as I've said over and over and over again, can be a planet that represents higher ethereal consciousness, higher states of consciousness. In the natural zodiac, it rules the 12th house, which is higher consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and things like this. In lower vibrations, it can reflect itself in terms of deception, delusion, okay, and things of this nature. And these two factors in our communications over the last several years, in our thinking, are weighing very heavily upon us, okay? And there is a reason for that. Now, the reason for showing you this particular chart is that by May of 2025, Neptune will move into the 4th house. It will move into, Saturn will move into the 4th house. These two principles, the dark side of these two principles, restriction, difficulty, confusion, okay, doubt, depression, anxiety, all this stuff, they move into the 4th house. And in the chart of the United States of America, this is the chart of the people, okay, their personal, private home life, all right? If this is in fact the case, then we're going to see a movement from just the mental side of this anxiety and of this confusion and doubt into the actual home experience, the condition of the people in the United States of America. So this is not something that we could say that we hope will happen, but the reality of it is that in some way, shape, or form it is probably going to happen. And of course, with the situation as we know it with Donald Trump and the people he's selecting, we could have a very helter-skelter type of government by that time. Totally confused, totally deranged. It really remains to be seen, exactly how far this will go, but it doesn't bode well, okay, when you're talking about the extreme consequences of something like this. to imagine that the stability of the United States that has been this way for almost ever, except for possibly the Civil War and maybe at times during Vietnam. Now we're seeing the literal heart blood of America, okay, having to come to grips with this energy, all right? And it is a very depressed, a very hopeless feeling type of energy, but it's also an energy that has a purpose, all right? And it's the main reason why years ago when I started to take a look at these charts and stuff, and I've mentioned this on several occasions in many videos, my big concern has always been how far is the universe willing to go to cause us to change our view of life, our view of ourselves, our view of the United States of America. Pluto is still transiting into the second house of our values, okay, of things like our earnings, money, and stuff like that, okay? So we have multiple personal parts here of the chart of the United States that are coming into a real sharp, challenging focus, all right? And this situation that we're feeling, okay, which is kind of almost a situation where we feel like, we want to hold on to a positive attitude, but we're just at the tip of a feeling of rage and wanting to lash out, all right? And this, of course, has always, again, been a concern of mine, is how far will the universe take us? How far is the universe going to push this? And what will be the reaction to this, okay? And there is no political solution to this that is going to satisfy this particular problem. Something else has to occur. All right, and of course, many of you that are a part of my channel, you are aware and you are awake and you are consciously growing, and yet you're also still feeling these things. Okay, if you're feeling these things that I just mentioned to you, don't beat yourself up. Don't punish yourself for that. All right, it's a very normal reaction, right, for our ego, okay, to resist change, to want to throw fits, to want to lash out, okay, to become disturbed, all right? And at some point in the process of all this, we realize we have a choice to make, we have a decision to make. And that decision boils down to either lashing out, trying to find some way to get even or to point the blame, or on the other side of that coin, there is the courage to accept the responsibility, the personal responsibility, that the world we live in is because of who we are. And there is a large amount of denial about personal responsibility in our lives. We rely on the government to do a lot of things for us. We rely on things outside of us. And if they fail us or appear to do so, we become angry and afraid, okay? Because within inside of ourselves, in the very basic framework of our consciousness, there's a great degree of fear that we have about life, about ourselves, okay? We feel separate, in many cases, from any ability to find an answer, to find the power to be able to gain control, okay, over our lives. And this is why there is such frustration building, and there is such a feeling of dread, okay, about the Trump administration taking over, all right? Because there is this overall feeling of helplessness, It's been pointed out over and over and over again by multitudes of people, by even myself, okay, that there is a dark energy about Donald Trump, okay? But the problem is that for most of us, what this has succeeded in doing is to affect our imagination. And unfortunately, okay, this creates more of the anxiety of like, oh no, this has happened, what next, okay? And because of that, we tend to forget almost entirely that the universe is behind the whole thing, Okay? The universe is allowing this to happen. And when you understand this a little bit better, it is helpful in helping you to understand what is going on and what you can do about that. Okay? Over on the other channel, the Astrology of Karma and Evolution, which I think right now there's about 88 people that have come across from this channel, I talk in great detail about the process of spiritual awakening, of relationships with your higher self, about the nuances of what it feels like, what you go through, how to address certain things. All right? This point of dread, of fear, of desperation that we're feeling, okay, is really in a large part a call to surrender. All right? To surrender the desires of our ego, the desires of wanting to be in political power, of wanting our particular party to be the one leading the country. I've noted on many occasions in my videos that it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. The problems in the world and in America are much deeper than that. And the Democrats can't hope to rescue everybody. The Republicans can't hope to hoard through greed all the money. For us all to survive and to coexist, there has to be a proper balance, a proper understanding of what is most important for those of us in the world and in America. Okay? And what is most important is getting back to the true purposes and values, okay, of life. All right? We're here to evolve and grow consciously through the resolution of karmic issues that have been passed down through lifetimes. And if we fail to address and recognize that, then we will continue to suffer the consequences of our ignorance. All right? So we have to wake up. We have to become responsible. We have to take the initiative to do something. We can't wait for somebody to rescue us. We can't wait for somebody to find the answer. All right? This is very much a hands-on period of time where if we are to make it through this time with a minimum amount of suffering, we have to align ourselves with these higher conscious energies that are wanting, okay, to empower those of us that are in alignment with them to help to create a better world with different values and different purposes. And I wish I could tell you how that's going to happen. I can't, okay? I can only say that we are at the basic fundamental baseline of beginning to deal with the fears and to choose whether or not we succumb to them or whether or not we're willing to release them and to trust that somehow within ourselves, within the universe itself, there is a desire for us to evolve and to go further. And whether or not that happens is anybody's guess. All right? We have a lot of information through the centuries about this glorious time. There's that one particular saying in the Bible, the book of Revelation, about the 1,000-year reign of the Christ consciousness, which sounds nice, but the truth of it is right now, that seems like it's a million light years away, because the proof of the transformation for many of us has not been completed. All right? We have been given glimpses, okay? Glimpses of our potential, all right, consciously. But we are still, in a sense, contaminated by these ego-programmed desires, okay, of wealth, power, pain, greed, okay. They're so much a part of our identity, and we have yet gotten to the point, many of us, where we're free of those. And we'll just have to wait and see how that happens. Now, getting back to the astrology here, I'm going to take you to a graphic ephemeris. And we're going to go here starting in May. And this is what I mentioned in the other chart. You can see here that Neptune going into Aries opposes the midheaven of the USA chart in May. It goes retrograde, okay, and goes back out of that, back into the third house in September. Saturn in the latter part of May goes into the fourth house. All right. And it also goes retrograde in the early part of September. So this is the focal point of things building up, of things becoming more obvious, that this is the way things are for the moment. And of course, with any transit of Saturn, whatever planet it aspects, whatever angle it aspects, it feels like things are never going to change. They're never going to get better. Okay? And I guess what I'm trying to say to yous that are aware, all right, is this is going to be a very soul-trying time. Okay? The feeling that I've had, maybe some of you have had this feeling as well over the last month or so, it's like a drain is clogged. It's like, you maybe had a flow creatively, spiritually for a long period of time, and now you just feel stymied, and you're not quite sure what to do. And, in some cases for us, it can become a panic mode thing to where you feel like you've been abandoned by the universe or you've been dropped off the waiting list, so to speak. But you find that in these times, these very testing and trying times, that you are forced to go in and look deeper at yourself. Okay? That you can no longer just let things slip. All right? While this particular thing I'm talking about here can seem to be cruel and harsh, it is another karmic indication that we will be forced to deal with those fears and doubts and anxieties within inside of us that are blocking the flow of higher energy and blocking the flow of higher consciousness. Okay, so if you're out there and you're punishing yourself because you feel like you've lost something, understand you have lost nothing. All right? You're just being forced to look deeper inside of yourself. And if you will continue to focus and meditate upon those feelings, at some point your guidance is going to show you why and what they are. And then at that point, the freeing up of that energy becomes possible. If you judge, if you chastise yourself, if you curse the universe, curse decisions you've made, all you're doing is bringing your own judgment upon your own head and a lot of pain. And this is something that you don't want to do, particularly when you're dealing with things like this that we're talking about. So we have a lot of challenges ahead of us. You can see down here, Eris, strife and discord. Okay? Here's where it is very close for an extended period of time to Mercury down here, communications. All right, so this contentiousness, at least for a couple more years, is going to be at certain times very obvious. All right, it adds to the pressure. Okay, I can't say this enough. I say it all the time. If you are trying and hoping to just maintain a positive attitude about these things, without meditating, you're going to lose that battle, because you need to experience the conscious shift that meditation provides from your mental and emotional bodies into your astral body. You need to rise above these energies of desperation and dread that we're all feeling and sensing right now. And that is the only way to do that. It is through meditation, to release the focus of your consciousness upon your mind and your emotions, and to submit, to surrender to those higher aspects of yourself that are free of that energy. That is the proper way to deal with these things. All right? And hopefully over time, as is always the case, you will ascend consciously within to higher realizations of the nature of reality, the nature of truth. All right? The nature of your truth. The truth about your life. About what has been happening your entire life. are so many things that are going on and that will be going on. Okay, and I hope, okay, that you find this particular video helpful. It was done, it is being done with the hope that it will in some way comfort you in understanding that how you feel is not something that is just what you're going through. I mean, it's possible in your own particular chart that you are going through something that maybe is making things a bit more difficult, all right? But this particular situation, this particular energy is something that, for the large part, everybody in the world is feeling it in one way, shape, or form. A very unstable, a very challenging energy, but you have to keep in mind, all right, that behind all the things that you're seeing, the universe is behind this because it wants to help us to grow, to change the world from the way it is to the way it can be. And we'll just have to hope that that's the way things work out. Okay, thank you for watching. For those of you that are members and subscribers and donators, as usual, thank you so much for your support. Okay, for those of you that have opened up and begun to share a little more of your situation in the community section, either in the Astrology of Life channel or over in the other channel, the Astrology of Karma and Evolution, I appreciate it tremendously. It is important that you share what you feel, that you communicate what you feel. Okay, it really is what can make both of these channels extraordinarily helpful to those of you that watch this channel, to be able to open up and share your fears, your doubts, your anxiety, to be real. Okay, to be real. So much healing energy can be released by just having the courage to share what you feel, what you're going through. Okay, and you never know who you're going to help by doing that, because I would imagine that the vast majority of my member subscribers, you understand this dreadful feeling if you're a Democrat. All right, if you understand what's going on, it's even maybe a little bit harder. All right, and there is that anxiety and fear inside of when is it going to end. Okay, I know you feel that. All right, you wonder, when is it going to end? And there is no quick answer to that when you take a look at things astrologically or logically or by reason. And it's why it is so important that you take seriously this need to discover for yourself inwardly what is the purpose and path of your life at these times. All right. And as I mentioned over in the other channel and stuff, I'll do my very best over there to share with you from my experiences what I do know about what is happening within us, the psychological, spiritual changes that are going on, okay, how to deal with things, you know, like depression and dread and things of this nature. It's important that you understand that there are tools to address these things, all right? Otherwise, you'll exist in a cloud in your head and your emotions, all right? You just feel this heaviness, and you'll wonder, when is it going to go away? Well, unfortunately, it's probably not going to go away anytime soon, but there is hope. There's always hope. Okay, from the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, oftentimes my own teacher, we want to thank you for your continued willingness to endure all of the astrology videos that I put out there, some of them that are not really pleasant, but they are, I believe, truthful and honest. And we hope that you'll remain with us, and that you will also share with others out there that want to hear more than just the glossed over stuff that can be delineated from looking at horoscopes. Talk more about what's really important, which is our own conscious evolution. Okay? Thank you for watching, and I look forward to another video as soon as I have that feeling of being directed to do so. And I hope that you all have a great week. Thank you again.